Mom, have our finances stabilized? Somewhat. With only $1,200 a month from Social Security, we were barely getting by, so Mary's remittances have been a big help. We're also managing your father's hospital bills, so thank you. That's good to hear. Really, thank you so much for the extra $600 a month, even with your night job. Huh? There's no way it's just $600. I've been sending $6,000. As usual, a phone call from my daughter checking up on us. I thought it would just be a simple chat today too. But suddenly, she told me the amount she's been sending is $6,000. Hearing that, my mind went blank for a moment. What are you talking about? It has to be $600. If you send that much, you'll be struggling yourself. It's okay. Tom and I discussed it, and we both put money from our salaries into it. So every time, I transfer it properly to Tom. What's wrong? My daughter, who was talking to me, suddenly changed her tone and stopped speaking. No way! What is it? She spoke to me quietly as if she had realized something. I think Tom might have. He just got home from work, so I'll ask him. And she hung up. The next day, my daughter told me a shocking truth. My name is Anna. I'm 75 years old and retired from an insurance company where I worked as an office clerk. Now, I'm living on Social Security, but even combined with my husband's, we only get $1,200 a month, which is quite low. My husband and I met at a party and started dating. Back then, I was earning a substantial salary at the insurance company. However, my husband has always had a frail constitution, making it difficult for him to hold a steady job. As a result, he moved from one company to another. Despite that, thanks to the good economy at the time, we managed to save enough money to live comfortably. But over time, that money was spent on our house and car loans, and now we have almost nothing left. We're forced to live a difficult life, but we're managing to get by. When I save enough money, I want to do something for you and Dad, so I'm gonna work hard. That's what my daughter said when she landed her current job. It's okay. I can still work. With my current salary, we can get by, so don't worry and save money for yourself. When my daughter was still small, we bought a house and had to make her go through hard times because of the mortgage payments. She seemed to be concerned about that and her father's health, and that's why she said those things. But back then, we were still managing to get by. So, I told her that she didn't need to worry too much about our lives. I see, but don't push yourself too hard. Dad has his health to think about, so take care of yourselves. Thanks. If I didn't have this body, I could have worked much harder, but I'm happy to have you and Mary. My husband, being 76 years old, had been catching colds more easily and was often bedridden recently. Our daughter worked as an office clerk at a slightly larger local construction company, where she met a salesman and decided to quit her job to get married. Her husband worked at the construction company, too, and was a fit and active young man. Thank you for marrying our daughter. Please take care of her. Although my daughter and her husband moved out, they rented a condo close to our house so they could come over quickly if anything happened. That was my daughter's thoughtfulness. I'm worried about you and Dad. We have some savings, so please rely on us if anything happens. Tom is okay with it too, and he's willing to help. At that time, I was full of gratitude towards my daughter and her husband. But those feelings were all shattered by an unexpected turn of events. It started to show a few months after my daughter's wedding. Tom, with his active personality, began taking us out to events like barbecues quite often. This is nice. We've never really done outdoor activities like barbecues before, so this is a lot of fun. At such times, both my daughter and Tom seemed to be happy. But my husband, who was there with us, had a gloomy look and sat in the chair the whole time. Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I just don't have the stamina, it's hard to move around. He looked pale and unwell as he said that. I'm sorry for pushing you to come. Maybe it would have been better if you had just rested at home? Hey, don't push yourself too hard. If you're not feeling well, I can take you home. At that moment, Tom was standing alone by the grill, looking at us with a disgruntled expression. He seemed upset that the fun event was being ruined and that we were looking after my husband instead of enjoying ourselves. Hey, I get that you're not in great shape, but can't you do something about it? I'm sorry, but it can't be helped, he was born this way. Even so, he raised me well. I want to take good care of him, and you agreed to that, Tom. I did agree, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. I'm really surprised. Don't say that. He's doing his best to live, and it's not fair to make fun of his condition. That night, my daughter and her husband had a huge fight. She couldn't forgive him for speaking badly about her father. The next day, my daughter came over for coffee and vented about it. I didn't think he had that kind of personality. He's usually so kind and considerate, it's really disappointing. Maybe it was just a one-time thing? Even so, he was too blunt. It felt like he was mocking my dad, and I couldn't stand it. Tears welled up in my daughter's eyes. She must have been deeply hurt by the way her husband belittled her father. Despite his frail health, my husband had always tried his best to play with our daughter, and she loved him for that. He always did his best. Knowing how hard he always tried, she couldn't forgive her husband's words. After that, Tom rarely suggested taking my husband out. On days when my husband felt stronger, they would go out together, but those times were rare. Hey, why don't we try inviting your dad to the gym next time? What? Are you serious? You know he's not in great shape. I know. But I did some research and think he might lack basic physical fitness. We won't push him too hard, just once. I don't think it makes much sense. He's already 76 and elderly, so don't make him do anything strenuous. Mary, do you really think it's okay for your dad to stay like that? It would be much better if he got healthier. Lately, my daughter had been arguing with her husband about my husband. Tom wanted to help my husband get stronger, so he had signed him up for a gym membership. This led to a fight with my daughter, but Tom insisted on taking my husband to the gym, which ended in disaster. The day after the workout, my husband's condition worsened rapidly, and when we took him to the hospital, he was diagnosed with pneumonia and had to be admitted immediately. I told you not to take him. Why did you do it? Stop thinking physical strength is everything. Not everyone is like that. If my dad dies because of this, you're going to be responsible, Tom. Mary, it's okay. Dad got pneumonia, but he'll recover like always, right? Mom, you're too soft. That's why Tom takes advantage of you. My daughter stormed out of the hospital room. Tom didn't even try to follow her. Instead, he gave us a cold look and left without saying a word. I just don't understand what Tom is thinking. His eyes were frightening at that moment. The way he looked at my husband wasn't like looking at a person. It was like he was looking at trash on the street, something dirty. My husband's pneumonia didn't improve but worsened, and his hospital stay was extended. Living on $1,200 a month from Social Security, we had to cover his hospital bills from that amount too. While I was worrying about our situation, my daughter came over and talked to me. Mom, isn't it hard living like this? If anything happens, I'll help out. Are you okay? Actually, it's really tough. Even with saving, we have your dad's hospital bills. We can hardly use any money for living expenses. What should we do? It's okay, don't worry. I'll work hard. I'll get a part-time job to earn money for your living expenses. I've already had a serious talk with Tom after that. Even when Dad recovers, I told him not to do anything like that again. For now, I'll take care of your living expenses. My daughter started a part-time job to support us. At first, she thought a part-time job would be enough, but it wasn't, so she started working nights too, working around the clock. You don't have to work that hard. No! You and Dad worked hard and took care of me even when times were tough. We got through those hard times because of you too. Now, I want to work hard for you. Crying, my daughter appealed to me. Her love for us was strong. Seeing us work so hard when she was little, she respected us deeply. Thank you, I understand. But don't overdo it. I wanted to support her enthusiasm. Feeling her deep love for us, my heart warmed. A few days later, I checked the remittance from my daughter. It was under Tom's name, but I figured they had arranged to transfer the money from his account and didn't think much of it. One day, as these remittances continued. Mom, have our finances stabilized? Somewhat. With only $1,200 from Social Security, we were barely getting by, so Mary's remittances have been a big help. We're also managing your father's hospital bills, so thank you. That's good to hear. Really, thank you so much for the extra $600 a month, even with your night job. Huh? There's no way it's just $600. I've been sending $6,000. The atmosphere turned tense from my daughter's phone call. It seems she had been transferring $6,000 to us from her and Tom's earnings. Busy with her part-time and night jobs, Tom had been handling the transfers, but my daughter seemed to have sensed something and hung up to confront him as he got home from work. The next day. Hello, Mom. Why do you sound so down? What happened after we talked last night? Well, it's Tom. My daughter, crying over the phone, told me what happened the previous night. It was shocking. What happened? Was it something that bad? Can you tell me everything? Yeah, I can. This is my problem too, but you need to hear it, Mom. What Tom thinks about Dad and us, and what he did. I need to tell you everything. My daughter took a deep breath to calm herself. Tom seems to find us annoying. Why would he think we're annoying? He gets fed up with how Dad always needs attention. He also can't stand that Dad has a weak constitution. He says things like that's what happens when you don't exercise from a young age, and he must have had a poor upbringing. It makes me so sad. I see. Tom's healthy and works hard, but he's different from your dad, so saying those things doesn't help. Yeah, and here's the worst part. Since I started working, Tom's been frustrated, saying things like you're doing this for your parents. I convinced him to help with the remittances, but my intuition was right. Tom only put $600 into your account. My daughter continued, her anger evident. When I asked why, he confessed he's been having an affair and used the rest of the money on his mistress. What? An affair? He's frustrated with how our whole family is taking care of Dad and feels he can't stay with such a family. But he doesn't want a divorce. Why not? He likes the comfort of our current life and wants me to keep managing the household. It was shocking to see Tom's true character revealed. Despite his seemingly kind face, I never imagined he could be so selfish. I can't let this go. I want to get back at Tom. So, Mom, I need your help. Hearing this sudden request from my daughter, I couldn't stand how much Tom had disrespected my beloved husband. I decided to join my daughter in seeking revenge on Tom and to take action together. By the way, what about remittances? He admitted to having an affair, so is everything okay? That's the thing. I can't understand Tom's feelings at all. What happened? A day had passed since yesterday's call, and my daughter came over to plan our strategy. She looked exhausted, and I worried that she was overworking herself. Okay, wasn't from work. But her tired look wasn't from work. Yesterday, we talked a bit more after the call. I told Tom that if he's going to say things like that, I'll divorce him. I said I'd work harder and send you the money myself, so he can do whatever he wants. What did he say? He begged me not to divorce him. He said, I'm having an affair, but she's like a close friend, so don't worry about it. He claimed he still loves me. He even said he'd make sure the next remittance is the full amount. But his eyes were shifty, so I think he's lying. I couldn't understand what Tom was thinking. He found my husband's need for attention annoying, but he still claimed to love my daughter. He excused his affair as having a close friend, smoothly coming up with explanations. Maybe it's his sales job that makes him so glib. He sure has a way with words. It's hard to trust his true feelings. Right? I think his sales job has made him so good at talking. My daughter seemed to feel the same way. Anyway, Mom, Tom said he'd send the full remittance from now on, but I doubt it. I think he'll only send $600 like always, so I want to check on that. Then I want to find out who his affair partner is and how long this has been going on. Finally, I'm going to hit him with divorce papers. She had a plan. The next remittance would come after his next paycheck, in the middle of next month. I was worried about whether my daughter's mental health would hold up until then. So, that's the plan. Please help me with this. In a tired and weak voice, my daughter said this and tried to head home. Wait a minute. You sound exhausted, and your eyes are bloodshot. You're going to collapse at this rate. What are you talking about? I'm fine. No. You don't understand. Your father once went through something similar. He overworked himself, collapsed, and it became life-threatening. Please, don't push yourself. I grabbed my daughter's arm, tears streaming down my face, and collapsed on the spot. I didn't want her to end up like her father. Seeing me like that, she seemed to realize her own condition, took off her shoes, and walked into the living room. Mom, I'm sorry. I've been stubborn. I've been feeling dizzy for a while now, like I was going to faint, she said, sitting down. Sorry. It's not just about Dad, but I've been stubborn about Tom, too. I've been under a lot of stress, and it seems like I've reached my limit. Maybe I should take a break from work, she said, resting her head on the table, tears welling up in her eyes. You're just like your father. Hardworking and stubborn, never complaining even when it's tough. I sat next to her, gently rubbing her back. Then, she took out her phone and called her husband. What are you doing? Are you okay? You're not at home. I'm not okay. Not okay. What happened? I'm exhausted. I'm at my parents' house now, but I almost fainted. Mom told me I need to rest because I'm overworked. She had him on speaker, so I could hear him too. His voice sounded a bit anxious, but didn't seem genuinely concerned. So, what are you gonna do? Can I stay at my parents' for a while? I want to take a break from work and properly rest. I'm nervous about being alone at home until you get back from work, she said, and his voice brightened up a bit. Sure, that's fine. Take your time and rest up, he said, and hung up. My daughter, still lying down, gave me a small smile. He's fallen into the trap. I think he's gonna bring his mistress to the house. He sounded a bit too happy at the end. Mary, you haven't been working just for this, have you? No, it's not like that. But given the situation, I think we can use it. Waiting for the next remittance is too long, so I'm gonna take action within this week. A few days later, on Saturday, my daughter went to her condo to execute her plan. She saw her husband's car in the parking lot. So he hadn't gone out. Their condo was on the first floor, and she quietly peeked into the living room window from the balcony. Just as she suspected, he had brought his mistress to the house. No way, that girl, she used to work in the same office as me. She almost shouted but managed to suppress it. The mistress was completely unexpected. The mistress was someone she knew, a former colleague. Anger welled up in her. Apparently, this girl had shown interest in her husband back then. Could she have made a move after my daughter retired? Many thoughts raced through her mind. This might be enough for now. I've got good evidence. This can corner Tom. Convinced, she left the scene. When she got back home, she called her husband to gauge the situation. Hello, I'm feeling much better, so I think I'll come back tomorrow. Sorry for the trouble. Was everything okay for the week, she said, and he responded in a flustered voice. Oh, okay. Tomorrow, right? You're coming back tomorrow. Yeah, everything was fine for the week. He was clearly agitated. His breathing was a bit heavy, and it seemed like he had been up to something. You sound out of breath. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Nothing's wrong. Oh, okay. If you say so. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow, so see you then. She hung up. Then, with a sigh, she put her phone on the table and slumped over, remaining still for a moment. Hey, are you really okay? You don't look fully recovered. Yeah, I'm still feeling weak. My body feels heavy, but I have to do this. I need to settle this by tomorrow, or I don't think I'll feel any better. Then she picked up her phone again and started making a call. No answer, she muttered, just as someone picked up. Hello? Oh, hi Allie. How have you been? What's this about all of a sudden? I've been so exhausted from work lately. I think I'm overworked and need someone to talk to. I saw your number on my phone and thought I'd call. Sorry, I'm kind of busy right now. Can we do this later? Busy? What's going on? Well, it's just... As usual, my daughter had the call on speaker. I could hear a man's heavy breathing in the background near the woman's voice. All right, fine. Can you call me back later? I'd love to catch up, she said, ending the call. Hey, who were you talking to just now? That was Tom's mistress. You have her number? She used to be a colleague at my old job. We got along really well at first and exchanged contact info, but I hadn't used it until now. I wanted to confirm if it was really her, so I called. And it was Allie. I could hear Tom's voice in the background. My daughter said this with a bitter smile, then sighed with her face buried in her arms on the table. I've heard that divorce is harder than getting married, and it's true. I'm already exhausted, and the stress is making it worse. That's why you shouldn't push yourself. Are you really okay? Yeah, I thought I might have to wait until next month, but I think I can settle this sooner. Tomorrow, before I see Tom, I'm going to confront Allie and get her to spill everything. At that moment, I felt the depth of my daughter's determination for revenge. I was touched by how far she was willing to go to protect our family. After a while of relaxing and drinking coffee, my daughter received a call on her phone. It was from the mistress. Thanks for calling back. So, what did you want to talk about? Yeah, I'd rather discuss it in person than over the phone. Can you meet me at a coffee shop? Sure. Thanks. Can you come to the Starbucks in front of the station around 3 p.m.? Okay. I'll be there. The mistress hesitated a bit but agreed to meet at the designated time and place. So, I'm heading out now. Isn't that a bit too sudden? Won't she be suspicious? She's not clever enough to handle an affair smoothly. She's straightforward and honest, so I think she'll confess if I press her. I don't know why she started the affair, but I'm sure it was Tom who kept it a secret. My daughter finished her coffee, took a moment to calm down, and then rested in the living room until it was time to leave. Hey, Allie. Long time no see. How have you been? Long time no see. You really don't look well. Are you okay? Let's go inside and sit down to talk. They exchanged greetings and entered the cafe. Once they were seated and their drinks arrived, my daughter took on a serious expression and confronted the mistress. I'm sorry to bring this up, Allie, but you're having an affair with Tom, right? Suddenly confronted, the mistress lowered her head and bit her lip, unable to say anything. Tell me the truth. When did it start, and... I'm sorry. I knew Tom was married to you, but I still got involved with him. Is that true? We've worked together for 10 years, and I know you, Allie. Who made the first move? It was Tom. I rejected him at first, but... When did it start? 6 months ago. Tom suddenly approached me and gave me this. The mistress held out her hand to show a ring. This is... He said he bought it for me. At that moment, my daughter was certain. The money for the ring came from the money she earned working hard to support her mother, and from Tom's savings. I can't forgive this. He used the money for something like this? What do you mean? The money he used to buy this ring was probably the money I earned to support my mom at home. What? No way. The mistress hadn't known, and she looked horrified by the situation. So you didn't know the truth. Why were you at the house today? Did Tom threaten you? The mistress, surprised that my daughter had figured it out, sighed and began to speak. I'm sorry. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing. Tom told me you were staying at your parents' house for a while, and That's unacceptable. But, Allie, you liked Tom, didn't you? Do you still? I'm really sorry for having an affair. And for cooking at your place and having fun while you were going through a tough time. I'll do anything to make it right, please forgive me. You're as honest as ever, Allie. If you felt that way, you shouldn't have had an affair. But you did, and you need to make up for it. I'm going back home tomorrow. Will you help me? She asked, sipping her coffee. The mistress, still looking down, couldn't speak, but my daughter gently encouraged her. What's done is done. Did Tom tell you anything? He talks so smoothly that I can't tell if he's lying or telling the truth. I know, he just talks a lot without saying anything meaningful. Because of that, our boss has been yelling at him every day. What? He's getting yelled at? Yeah, his sales numbers are down. He complains that he can't close deals because he just keeps talking without substance. That's surprising. I always thought he was a hard worker when I was there. It's been like this since he got married. He's been irritable every day, started having empty conversations, and then he approached me. This conversation connected all the dots. Tom had been stressed from his home life since marrying my daughter. He vented his pent-up emotions through meaningless conversations, which backfired and caused more stress at work. Unable to handle my daughter's lack of attention, he turned to the mistress. This was my daughter's conclusion. And one more thing. My dad was born with a weak constitution and shouldn't exert himself too much, but Tom once took him to the gym for a strenuous workout. It made him so weak that he couldn't move. Now his pneumonia has worsened, and he's in the hospital. Hearing this, the mistress looked shocked. She slammed her hand on the table and stood up. What? That's unforgivable. I'll help you, Mary. My dad is a lawyer, so I'll get his advice. You drop a bombshell like that now? How did you manage to have an affair with a lawyer for a dad? I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking. She looked down in embarrassment, but knowing what Tom had done made her switch sides. I'll help you tomorrow. Let's bring Tom down. And you'll have to reflect on what you're doing, Allie. You did have an affair, after all. Yes. This conversation was the right move. My daughter seemed much lighter when she got home, looking refreshed. It went just as I thought. Allie is still the kind person she was before. That's good to hear. So, will tomorrow be okay? Yeah. She had a bright, unclouded smile. With a strong ally for tomorrow's confrontation, my daughter's spirits were significantly lifted. I'm home! Oh. Welcome back. Did you have a good rest? Tom greeted us with an overly cheerful demeanor. Anna, you're here too. What brings you there? His voice sounded slightly higher than usual. Was he rattled by what happened yesterday? There had been plenty of time since the mistress left. He must have been frantically trying to cover his tracks, fearing evidence might be found. You sure used up a lot from the fridge. Did you cook for yourself? Oh, yeah. Impressive, right? I can cook for myself and handle the housework, too. Isn't that a bit much food for one person? We stocked up for 2 people for a month, but you've gone through enough for 1 person in 2 weeks. Actually, even more than that. Really? Maybe I ate too much. He was visibly shaken by her probing questions. And you did a surprisingly thorough job cleaning. Are you secretly a good housekeeper, Tom? What? Are you suspicious because you think I'm having an affair? You're saying that in front of my mom, and isn't it supposed to be a close friend, not an affair? The atmosphere grew tense as soon as we got home. At that moment, the doorbell rang, and the mistress arrived. "Oh. She's here. Come on in." My daughter called the mistress through the intercom and let her in. Tom looked utterly bewildered, his eyes widening in shock when he saw the mistress. "What? Allie, what are you doing here?" "She came over today. We met yesterday after a long time and had a great time catching up. So we decided to have coffee together today." My daughter's voice was loaded with implication. She was about to corner Tom. They both sat on the living room sofa, glaring at Tom, silently pressuring him to sit on the opposite side. Realizing something was up, Tom complied, looking nervous as he faced them. "Yesterday, talking with Mary made me realize something. I can't do this anymore. Here, take back this ring. I'm ending this affair today. And you better sell that ring and return the money you took from Mary." The mistress's tone was severe. Terrified, Tom sensed the gravity of the situation and immediately apologized deeply. "I'm sorry. I have coerced Allie into the affair and used the money I should have given to Mary to buy that ring. Please forgive me. I was so stressed out, I didn't know what to do. Please don't divorce me. I'll stop the affair with Allie, I swear." Everything my daughter had suspected was true. Tom continued apologizing, but my daughter's disdainful look didn't change. She placed the divorce papers in front of him. "My mind is made up. We're getting divorced. And don't think I've forgotten about what you did to my father. I'm also considering seeking damages for that." "What? Why?" "What you did to him counts as defamation. My dad is a lawyer, and he said we could get compensation. Don't try to run away. We had an affair, and there's no escaping that. We'll both face the consequences together." The mistress's sly smile made her seem almost psychopathic. She was determined to drag Tom down with her, knowing she was guilty too. "This is ridiculous. Why do I have to go through all this? You've ruined my family's finances. Things were already hard, and then you caused my dad to end up in the hospital. Come on, please. We don't need to go that far. Divorce should be enough, right? I'm really sorry. I'll make amends for everything, and we'll get divorced. Just please don't make me pay damages." "No. The crime of insulting my father and lying to me about the affair is serious. I won't let you off that easily." Tom slumped down on the sofa. He seemed to realize there was no escape. "I'm sorry. I'll do whatever you say. It was all my fault," he said, starting to cry. "Tell me, when did you find out I was having an affair with Allie?" Tom asked in a thin voice. "Yesterday morning. You probably stayed over since Friday, right? Or were you here every day? Like I said earlier, the amount of food disappearing from the fridge was abnormal. If you're going to have an affair, at least be more discreet." "I'm sorry. I've already told my dad about the affair. We're prepared to make you face the consequences. I've also taken steps regarding your slander against Mary's dad, so be ready for court. And don't forget about the money you were supposed to be sending to my mom. That's the biggest issue here. Why did you use that money to buy a ring? Couldn't you have used your own money?" "Well, my salary got cut. My performance hasn't been great, and I was told I'd be fired if I screwed up another deal. But I wanted Allie to notice me, so I'm appalled. Allie told me some of this, but you've really been demoted? Because of your empty talk at meetings? And you planned to skim off next month's payment too, didn't you? I know everything. My savings were running low, so yeah, I was going to do that. I don't know how it came to this. I really don't. It's your own fault. You insulted my family, let your stress build up, and started lying. You did this to yourself." Seeing this scene unfold before me, I felt sorry for Tom. I had thought I would say something as part of our revenge, but I couldn't bring myself to say anything. In the end, Tom signed the divorce papers and left. "I wasn't much help, was I?" "You were. Just having you here gave me strength. Thank you. And so, our revenge came to an end. The divorce was finalized, and the affair went to court. Tom also faced a lawsuit for defamation against my husband, and he was ordered to pay damages. Allie quit her job, revealing her affair with Tom to the boss before disappearing. This gossip doesn't matter much to me, but I might use it to boost your sales numbers. Not everyone knows yet, so if you don't want the whole company to find out, work as hard as you used to. Do your job well. The boss's comments reached us through one of my daughter's former colleagues, who got in touch with her friend. Under the pressure, Tom eventually resigned from the company. My daughter moved out of her old condo and came back to live with us. Looking forward to being back. I'm so glad you're coming back. Thank you. My husband's pneumonia eventually healed, and he was discharged from the hospital. Now, the three of us live together. My daughter got a call from a friend at her old company. They were short on staff and asked her to return. She accepted and started working again as an office clerk at the construction company. Life has become more fulfilling for her, but I still hope she'll get married again. Do you think you'll ever want to get married again? Not right now. After everything with Tom, I need to be alone for a while. The idea of romance scares me. Though that's how she feels now, I still hope that someday she'll find someone to marry again.